Hare Krishna. Nemisha Mataji, you can read the sloka. Hare Krishna. Are you there, Mataji? Nemisha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yava samjagdyanudinam naiva dugdhi auda sampayaha tasyamevam nidushtayam dando natra nashasyate. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Sharmila Mataji, you read the synonyms. Padma Mataji, the translation, and I'll read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yavasam, green grass. Jagdi, you eat. Anudinam, daily. Na, never. Eva, certainly. Dogdi, you yield. Audasam, in the milk bag. Payaha, milk. Tasyam, when a cow. Evam, thus. He, certainly. Dushtayam, being offensive. Dandaha, punishment. Na, not. Atra, here. Na, not. Shasyate, is advisable. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although you are eating green grass every day, you are not filling your milk bag, so we can utilize your milk. Since you are willfully committing offences, it cannot be said that you are not punishable due to your assuming the form of a cow. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A cow eats green grasses in the pasture and fills her milk bag with sufficient milk so that the cow herdsmen can milk her. Yajna sacrifices are performed to produce sufficient clouds that will pour water over the earth. The word payak can refer both to milk and
shloka is also there, right? 24.
As one of the demigods, the earthly planet was taking her share in the yajnas. That is, she was eating green grass, but in return, she was not producing sufficient food grains. That is, she was not filling her milk bag. Prithu Maharaj was therefore justified in threatening to punish her for her offense. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, 21 to 25. Yeah, continue, Sudha Mataji, continue.
Yes, 20, Rohini Mataji, 24 is, or 25, 24, no? Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, 24 and
I'm not able to hear.
Okay, you're not able to hear. Am I not audible, Mataji?
No. You are
Hare
audible, Mataji. I think Prabhu can't hear us. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Okay, I'll call him and inform him. You continue reading.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Navakishori Mataji, you read the shloka. Varnali Mataji, the purport. Synonyms.
Hare.
Supa Mataji, the translation. And I'll read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Tvam khalva asadi bijani prakra srutsani swayambhuva.
Now it's clear, I think. I'm able to hear.
We can also hear you, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Continue, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Tam khal prakra srushta tam khal sadi bijani prakra shushthani swayambhuva na muchasyatma ruddhani mama vagyaya mandatihi. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Synonyms. Tvam, you. Khalu, certainly. Oshadhi, of herbs, plants and grains. Bijani, the seeds. Prak, formerly. Srishtani, created. Sambhuva, by Lord Brahma. Na, do not. Munchasi, deliver. Atma Rudhani, hidden within yourself. Mam, me. Abhagnaya, disobeying. Mandadihi, less intelligent. Mandadihi, less intelligent. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have so lost your intelligence that despite my orders, you do not deliver the seeds of herbs and grains, formerly created by Brahma and now hidden within yourself. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While creating all the planets in the universe, Lord Brahma also created the seeds of various grains, herbs, plants, and trees. When sufficient water falls from the clouds, the seeds fructify and produce fruits, grains, vegetables, etc. By his example, Prithu Maharaj indicates that whenever there is a scarcity in food production, the head of the government should take steps to see why production is being held up and what should be done to rectify the situation. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Haribo. Krishna, Om Agnantimarandasya Gnananjana Shalaka, Chakshanuntamena, Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prashta Bhutala Srimati Yadava Swami Taname, Namachar Pada and Takapa, Gaurpada Brahmana, Kampana. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Staptam Yena Bhutala, Swam Rupakadama, Hindadati Supadantima, Undeham Shri Gurun, Shri Vatapadamam, Shri Gurun Vaishvansha, Shri Rupam, Sakrajatam, Sagana Ragana Tanitam, Tamsadivam, Sadvaitam, Savadutam, Parijana Saitam, Krishna Chaitanya Deva, Shri Radha Krishna Pada, Sagana Lalita, Shri Vishakanitam. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृपानुसुते देवी नमामि पांचा कल्पतरुष कृपा सिंधु पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all devotees for today's Shrimad Bhagavatam Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yeah, this 25th shloka has been read, Prabhu?
No,
this
no,
is
not
also
yet,
there.
no.
So this is also 21 to 25.
Yeah. If you want, you can read. We can keep in the end. I will give a chance.
Yeah. Fine, perfectly all right, Prabhu. Yes.
Actually, I'm in Vrindavan actually. I come for some official seva here for handling one of the trust. So, and then it has been quite hectic. Although I'm second week, I'm here, almost 2 weeks I'm here, but work has been quite hectic. So, I'm very grateful that still Mataji gave me the chance to do this session.
No, not me, Prabhu. It's ICF and Prabhu, Ashish Prabhu.
Yeah, but I'll just make an attempt. I'll see that.
Yeah, okay, Prabhu. Yeah, fine. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So we are in this session of this 17th chapter, and 17th chapter, as we know, is actually the Prithu Maharaj's, becomes angry at the earth, at Bhudevi. Interestingly, it is a very diabolic situation here. We know that Prithu Maharaj is actually the incarnation, Shaktavesh avatar of the Lord, of Krishna, Vishnu himself. But then it is very surprising to see that he is chastising Mother Earth, Bhudevi, for a reason, something, actually it is beyond our comprehension. But what we have to see is the larger, picture as to why this, situation has emerged, and then how the Lord is also addressing that, situation, that problem. So it's always that, it is said that whenever the lock maker, when he makes the lock, he will make sure that there is always a key to the lock, right? So we don't find anywhere any person making a locksmith, making a lock without a key being there. So like that, but for a layman, if he looks at the lock and then he doesn't know how to open it. I mean, there's so many permutations, combinations he tries. If he doesn't have a key, it is so difficult. He might put some wire or some clip or something he might try to do and try to open it, but it is just impossible. It is just impossible. Whereas the locksmith, when he gives the actual key, which will have so many holes, or it may have some levers, or it may have some protrusions, some extended protrusion. So with that, the key can be turned, and you can open the lock. So that is how the Lord's creation is. Krishna's creation is such a way. He is made such a creation that he only gives the problems. He knows the problem, and then he gives the solutions also. But it is dependent on the person, the intelligence of the person, that he goes and approaches the locksmith, or he approaches the person who created it, and then he pleads or begs unto him, or he surrenders unto him, or he asks for the forgiveness, and then he is trying to seek a solution. So like that, we also have to approach the person who made this creation. So if the intelligent person go and approach, a person is not intelligent, if he is having too much of false ego, or little intelligence, he might take it as a what is this? Why, he might get agitated, and then he might fight with the locksmith, and but he may not get a solution. So intelligence is that we know that, okay, somebody is there, creator, higher authority, supreme authority. We go approach him in a very forgiving mood, and then we ask him, and then we give some seva, do some seva, and then try to please him. Once that is pleased, and we will also pay for a price. The moment you pay the price, in today's material world, you have to pay money. But in the spiritual world, you have to do your services. You offer your services, then he gets pleased, and he can give you the solution. He can give the key with which you can open the lock. So similarly, this is a situation where the Lord himself is created a situation like this, and he's trying to give a solution. So as we go back, if we go back to the past, the history, what has happened is that we know that Vena was the king, who was such a very demoniac king. Although he came from a very pious father, Rajarshi Anga, but the offspring, which is Vena, was such a dubious person, and then he had created havoc in the whole earth. And then there was a lot of violence going on, lot of terrorism, and then he was actually himself becoming a terror, and then he was all the citizens were afflicted, and then they ultimately went and prayed to the Lord, demigods, and then somehow that Vena was had come to his end. And because of the Vena's the bad rain, all this misfortune had happened. The lands had become dry, barren, and there was not much vegetation. Rainfall was not happening. Things were not in good environment was not good. So like that, it had come to that extent, almost like a very drought kind of a thing. And now again, Lord himself had to come. So from the hands of the dead body of the Vena, the churning happened, and then from that churning, two entities came, which is actually Prithu Maharaj and Archi. So Prithu Maharaj is actually the Vishnu incarnation, Krishna's incarnation, the male, and the female was Archi, which is actually the Lakshmi's or Shrimad Radharani's incarnation. So they came, and they had to take this onerous or the great responsibility of reviving this earth, the Prithvi, and then bringing back the glory, and then make the soil fertile, environment fertile, everything conducive for a well-being of the entire citizens. And that is how they came into existence. And as we know from the previous chapter, how Prithu Maharaj was endowed with all the important things that is required for his important things which were required, which were the benedictions given by the demigods, and all the demigods had given. We come to this 15th chapter. So here it says the great sage continued. The 13th shloka. The great king Prithu, exquisitely dressed with garments and ornaments, was coronated and placed on the throne. The king and his wife Archi, who was exquisitely ornamented, appeared exactly like fire. The great sage continued, my dear Vidura, Kuvera presented the great king Prithu with a golden throne. Demigod Varuna presented him with an umbrella that constantly sprayed fine particles of water and was as brilliant as the moon. So just imagine the kind of, the umbrella what he got, such a scientific one. To beat the heat, and Varuna being the demigod for in charge of the water, he gave an umbrella that sprayed fine particles, like it was like a fountain spraying on the king, and then it was keeping him cool, and it was as brilliant as the moon. And Vayu presented with 2 wisps of chamara, and then Dharma presented the flower garland which would expand his fame. The king of heaven, Indra, presented him with a valuable helmet, and superintendent of death, Yamaraj, presented the scepter, which was required to rule the world. And this is that scepter which recently Narendra Modi also got. Actually, it was held by, it was in the museum. It was in one of the museums in Delhi. And the Congress government earlier, Nehru and all those people, when they took over charge from the British in the 40s and 50s, they did not know what it was. The scepter is actually, in Tamil, it is called something is the word. I'm not able to remember that word. Sendola. Can anybody know about it? Scepter?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Sendol. Yeah, Sendol is that stick which gives the power to the king or the emperor.
Sengkol, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Sengkol. Yeah. So this was there, and this was kept in the museum because these people, they didn't knew, the politicians, and they kept in the museum thinking it's a walking stick. Can you imagine the height of ignorance? And then it so happened that he met Modi met one of the acharyas, the yoga acharya, in, I think he was in Rishikesh or Haridwar, and recently he passed away also. He was lived about 128 years or something. And this acharya had he had told his predecessors were the one who were making this sendol and things like that, and they were associated with this ceremony. Whenever the king, like the previous kings about 300-400 years back in the Tamil Nadu, the Cholas or Pandavas or whoever it is. So then he came to know, and then it was found out, and this scepter was officially handed over to a prime minister by following all the rites and religious principles, and that is how he got. And that is how we see how Narendra Modi is becoming so powerful in the world, and he's getting all the spiritual endowment from the demigods, and he's been ruling so wonderfully. So this scepter was given to rule the world, and so much of significance it had. And that was the reign of Prithu Maharaj, because he himself is the Lord, so he got so much of opulences and blessings from the Lord. So what we have to see is that he came at this point of time to revive the entire planet, and that is how this Prithvi, the Prithvi we call as the earth, got the name from Prithu. And as we see in the next chapter, that he actually plowed the earth several times, and he rode the entire place on his chariot, and he completely revived this planet, and he got the glory of this earth, and the soil became fertile, and plantation, vegetation, everything was in order. So he completely manifested that this opulence. And now he came to also know that despite all this, over a period of time, that the earth had become barren. And then, so now he's chastising, he's catching hold of the Mother Earth, that you have not produced grains. You have not, the soil is not so good. So like this, he's chastising. But what we have to see is that what will happen in the future, that by doing all these things, he actually brought back the glory. But for the time being, it is this Mother Earth who took a form of a cow, and it is getting chastised. But it is also said that whenever this kind of a chastisement is given by superior authority, it is always it is always good. You have to take it in the right spirit, and Lord has got a plan. Otherwise that the chastisement will not come. And also that for every devotee to be in his sadhana and also to perfect his sadhana, there is also a requirement for some chastisement required. Otherwise, the devotee may think that, oh, what I'm doing is perfect. and everything is going on well. So there is no scope for correction. And unless a superior authority comes and then gives this chastisement or tries to correct him and give some inputs, the devotee may not correct. So when we are all sadhakas, we are trying to be practicing the bhakti yoga. So there is bound to be so much of fallacies within us, lacunas within us, and we have to accept it prima facie and see that okay, whatever we are doing right now should be on the corrective path. Only then we can actually become more purified. Otherwise, if you think that everything is perfect, I am perfect, what I'm doing is right, I don't have to report to my seniors, my guru. If you think like that, it's going to be a real downfall, because we don't know when the Maya will catch us, Maya will attack us, and when the six urges in our life will get impacted, and how we can succumb to those external forces, and we might actually lose our focus. So it's very important that time and again we also get counseling done, and then some mentorship done by our superior authority. Then we can actually rectify, if at all there is a, so definitely there will be some lacunas within us, and it is very important. So Purandradasa has made one kirtana, and he is so wonderfully described in that kirtana that he says that if at all your neighborhood has to be clean and it has to be swachha, then you need pigs. If the pigs are there, then they'll keep the all the drain or drainage system. I mean, I'm talking of the olden days, how it used to be. They may not have had the latest of the technologies to protect their environs. But so he's telling that this the pigs should be there, and it can actually protect. And then he, at the same time, he says, just like how the pigs are there, it keeps the whole place, environment, neighborhood very clean. Similarly, you need criticizers. You need somebody who try to criticize you, who will point out your mistakes. Just imagine if the point out mistakes is not there, then everything may go haywire. I mean, even if you are making some blunders, mistakes, it may not get it may not get noticed. Whereas if some people are there to correct us, it is a very good fortune. We have to think that way, because in today's world there are very few people that who will try to point out a mistake or try to see somebody improving in there. And especially in the spiritual world also, it so happens that devotees may not take so much interest in trying to rectify a person, because they are bothered, they're bogged down with their own sadhana. But if you find somebody in a devotee circle also that who is identifying your mistake and then trying to point it out, we have to actually thank him. Why? Because if we had not they pointed out, we will not be able to rectify that, and we might continue the same mistake. So that way, if somebody is trying to point out a mistake, chastise you, we have to very gracefully accept it, and we have to thank him that, yeah, you are doing it as a service. I mean, it's a great service for me, and I'll try to improve my services or my seva. So like that, way we can learn, and we can proceed further in our seva and sadhana. Otherwise, if nobody is going to point out, then one fine day we might have a we may end up in a difficult situation. So this way here, the Mother Earth is just getting chastisement. Actually, it's for no cause of Mother Earth. She's not at all in that situation of getting chastisement and some blame like this. But again, the cow, the earth, in a very humble position it is taking, and these are all lessons for us, how humble position it is taking, and it is accepting. Yeah, if I made a mistake, maybe I'm at wrong. So please show your mercy and show your munificence, and then try to help me. So like that position, the cow earth is telling, and then it is pleading. So as we see in this the previous shloka number 18, the 17th shloka, just as a man cannot escape the cruel hands of death, the cow-shaped earth could not escape the hands of Vena. So this is the problem. Vena's whatever he did in his reign, whatever had happened, the infertility, all those bad terrorism, and the entire earth was just getting soaked with the blood and the terror of, because of Vena's thing. So because of that, the earth had to face this. So now this is coming up here. At length, the earth, fearful, her heart aggrieved, turned back in helplessness. So as the commentator is telling here, that the earth was in pain and in distress because of Vena's bad doings. And in the next shloka, addressing the great opulent King Prithu as the knower of the religious principles and shelter of the surrendered, she said, "Please save me. You are the protector of all living entities. Now you are situated as the king of this planet." So it is taking that very humble position. And then, and it further says that I am very poor and have not committed any sinful activities. I do not know why you want to kill me. Since you are supposed to be the knower of all religious principles, why are you so envious of me? Why are you so anxious to kill a woman? So like this, it is pleading. And even as we know in the Manu Shastra, that the 3 or 4 categories of people always should be protected by the king: the elderly people, the child, the woman. So like this, it's already there in the Shastra. So here, women also, and the earth is taking the position as a woman. It's also pleading that since I'm woman, you have to be more protective of me. Why you want to give me this this blame, and then why you are not protecting me? Like that, it is pleading. And in the previous shloka, it is that even if a woman does commit some sinful activity, no one should place his hand upon her. What to speak of you, dear king, who are so merciful, you are a protector and you are affectionate to the poor. So like that, it is begging innocence and pleading to Prithu Maharaj. And in this shloka, we come to this 21st. The cow-shaped earth continued, "My dear king, I'm just like a strong boat, and all the paraphernalia of the world is standing upon me. If you break me to pieces, how can you protect yourself and your subjects from drowning?" So is again pleading, telling that I'm like a strong boat, and if you break me to pieces, I mean, my entire thing will, the boat which is going to be used for taking places, protecting the people, and then crossing over the river or a water body. And if that is broken, what I can do? I cannot serve the purpose. So the earth is pleading. And here Prabhupada talks about the entire planetary system is in the Garbha water. Beneath the planetary system, like all the 14 planetary system, is actually the Garbhodaka, the Garbhodaka ocean. Garbha is actually it's called the womb in Sanskrit, and the Udaka is actually the ocean, water body, Garbhodaka. So there actually Vishnu lies, and from that Garbhodaka Shahi Vishnu comes Brahmaji. We know that how Brahma was created from the navel, the lotus came, the spiritual form of the lotus came, and on that lotus, Lord Brahma was born. And as Prabhupada says, if a planet is destroyed, it must fall into the water of Garbha. So Earth therefore warned King Prithu that he could gain nothing by destroying her. So as we understand, from the Garbhodaka Shahi ocean, we have Brahmaji in his place, and then all the 14 planetary systems are just like floating in the air. That is a simile which is given here by Prabhupada. And then indeed, how would he protect himself and his citizens from drowning in the Garbha water? In other words, outer space may be compared to an ocean of air, and each and every planet in it is floating on it, just as a boat or an island floats on the ocean. Sometimes planets are called dvipa or islands, and sometimes they are called boats. Thus, the cosmic manifestation is partially explained in this reference by the cow-shaped earth. So here, Prabhupada is giving very clearly that the Garbhodaka ocean is there beneath these 14 planetary systems, and the planetary systems are there. All the planets are in orbit, and they are doing their rounds orbits, and everything is like appears as if it is remote controlled, but actually the real controller is Krishna himself. But he has given the task of maintaining the material world to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, who are taking care of the 3 modes. And then we have this Purusha avatars in the form of Garbhodaka Shahi Vishnu, Kshirodaka Shahi Vishnu, and Karanodaka Shahi Vishnu, who each one of them, or the Garbhodaka Shahi Vishnu first brings all the planetary systems and everything is created. Then Kshirodaka Shahi, the Karanodaka Shahi Vishnu is the one who creates first the entire creation. Then you have the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, where the Lord enters into the universe. In the Vishnu enters into each of the universes and then stays there as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Then the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and the third one is the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, where as Mahavishnu, he is the in charge of this material world, and he enters into each of the and stays as a Paramatma, Mahavishnu, and in every living entity. And that is how when the demigods want to go and seek Krishna's help, the Vishnu's help, they will actually go to the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Kshira is the milk, so the ocean of milk. So all demigods go to the Kshirodaka Vishnu, and then Kshirodakashaya Vishnu in turn, he comes and helps. Most of the Leela's pastimes, when it comes to the fight within the demonic people and the Asuras and the Suras, it is the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu who is approached, and the prayers are offered to him, and then he takes the form, and then he comes and protects the devotees. So this is the way. So just to recap, the entire creation, first is the Karanodakashaya Vishnu, and the second is the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, third is the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. That is the order in which they are formed. These are called the three Purusha Avataras. So in the next shloka, as we see, Pruthi replied to the earth, the planet, "My dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and rulings. In the form of a demigod, you accepted your share of the yajnas we perform, but in return, you have not produced sufficient food grains. For this reason, I must kill you." So again, this is very bewildering statement. Actually, we all know that for no fault of Mother Earth, it is just getting the blame, and it is also said here in the shloka that you have disobeyed the rulings. You have, as a demigod, not accepted your share of the yajnas performed, but you have not produced the sufficient food grains. So this is something very inconceivable, actually. But this is how, in the Lord's creation and in situation, all these kinds of things will come. What appears in the Shastras as a statement, as a truth, may not be appealing to us, or we may not be able to accept that fact. So such intriguing Lord's creation is. So similarly, in the Shastras, it is said the conch, correct? The conch of the conch shell, which we use, the Shanka, is considered one of the most purest form, which is there. And that is why the conch shell is allowed to be allowed inside the altar where the Lord is residing, and it can be, it is used for blowing and creating the sound waves. But actually, the conch, if you see, is actually the dead matter of a shell. A living animal is there, snail is there, and from the snail, the chemicals, whatever the intake it takes in the form of the water or the insects and all that, with all the minerals and salt element, everything is there. And from that element, the excreta of the snail is actually formed as the shell. Is the excess portion of the snail, of the animal, which actually forms in the form of a shell, and that shell is considered pure. So it's very inconceivable. How can the excreta can become the pure? And the second example, which Prabhupada also gives, is the cow dung. The cow dung, which is coming from the excreta of the cow, is actually considered so sacred, and it is used in the yajnas. The moment you want to start a yajna, the yajna kunda, you should have cow dung. It should be cleaned with cow dung, and we know that cow dung was used in our olden days in front of the houses. The cow dung was spread across the house, in front of the house, and so that the thing, it is also now proven that it is antiseptic. It is antifungal, antibacterial. So many properties are there in the cow dung, and that is why our forefathers used to place cow dung, and they used to in front of the house, they used to wash the house or spread the cow dung, and it is considered so sacred. But what it is made up of, it is actually excreta of animal. But the Shastra says, Bhagavatam says, that these two are the purest forms, and it is used for Lord's service. So just an example how things can go. It's actually beyond our comprehension that these kinds of incidents happen, and Bhagavatam also gives this. And also, what we should also learn from this is that even if you're not done wrong, even if something is, you are put into a difficult position, you are in a blamed position, what is more important here is that you should have patience. You should simply accept. If it is coming from a superior authority, you should simply accept and just tolerate it. The moment you tolerate and you accept it, that is the highest form of surrender. Normally what happens is that our ego is so highly surcharged every time that anybody want to point out a finger on us, even if you have not done the mistake, or if you have done the mistake, fine, we have to accept it. Even if you have not done the mistake, somebody is pointing out on you, you still don't have to flare up. You don't have to react to it. What you have to do is to simply stay silent and accept that even if you're, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that my Guru Maharaj Ishwarpuri, he called me a fool. He considers me a fool. And he told me one thing, that just chanting holy name and do Sankirtan. This is because this is the Yuga Dharma. So since he told me, I'm just following that. This was the reply he gave to Prabodhananda Saraswati, who was one of the Mayavadi sannyasis in Varanasi, that I'm just a fool. And even if you consider me a fool, no problem, I will do, because my Guru has told me that you just chant Hare Krishna Mantra and you just be in the Sankirtan movement. So like that, we have to accept that humble position. So, and especially in a flared up situation, if you are able to not react, or not to flare up, and just be tolerant and patient, that is actually the highest form of humility. That means you have won the test. So this way, Lord keeps giving us, Maya also keeps giving us so many tests, and amongst all those difficult situations, if you're able to sustain it and then overcome it, that means you are the winner. So same situation here is for the earth, where it is unnecessarily being chastised, and Lord himself, Prithu Maharaj himself is telling, I must kill you. My God, how is the cow is one of the holiest animal, we know that. And cow is actually, Lord is the Go Brahmana Hitaicha. Namo Brahmane Deva, Go Brahmana Hitaicha, Jagadhidaya Krishna, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Lord is the protector of the cows and the Brahmanas. And how can we expect the Lord to kill a cow, which is unimaginable? Anyway, we'll come to know future in the future shlokas, how these are all just some statements, and then how it was all directed to the cow or the mother earth, just to see what is the tolerance level. And if you have won this test, you have actually succeeded in your life. And the next shloka, although you are eating green grass every day, you're not filling your milk bag so you can utilize your milk. Since you're willfully committing offenses, it can be said that you're not punishable due to your assuming the form of a cow. So again here, the blames are heaped upon, and the Lord is telling you are willfully committed offenses. You didn't, you ate so nicely all the green grass, but you didn't produce milk. But you are now punishable because now and that you have taken a form of a cow. So it's the same. One more example in the Chaitanya Lila, we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was accused by one of his god brother, one, I think, Ramchandra Puri. So although he was a great devotee, but he had pointed fingers on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and he had made a big blunder by telling him that you are a sannyasi, and why are you eating so much? You are overeating. Actually, one time, what happened when Mahaprabhu was in his quarters, he saw when Ramchandra Puri came, he saw that in the house where he was living in the quarters, that there are a lot of ants, and there were some food particles also lying there. So the moment he saw that the ants were there and then eating all the food remains, immediately he concluded and made a big blunder. He came to the situation, taking a judgment, saying that Mahaprabhu had eaten more, he had overeaten, and he was spilled over here. And because of that, the ants have come, insects have come, and they are eating. And then he made such a big blasphemy. He should not have done that. But he did that, and later on he had to suffer also for that blasphemy. So this way, it also gives us a lesson that we should not judge people. We should not come to conclusions and then simply point out mistakes, and then point out some silly mistakes, and then try to show our ego or our superiority. I mean, that is the last thing that we can do to a devotee. It will be a big offense, and that Vaishnava Prada, nobody can protect And even the Lord will not protect if we make such a mistake. So, so this is just a lesson here that we should not make comments, past comments, judgments, and then unnecessarily get into a wrong karma, or taking the offenses and then suffering in future. So we have to be very careful not to blaspheme or not to find out mistakes. If at all some issues are there, we can always take to the higher up authorities and then report to the higher up authorities, and they can internally discuss this matter and then sort out. Because unless we know the truth, what is going on in the life of a devotee, and if we try to make a comment, it may rebounds on us, and which is not actually it's not been our domain. Of course, there are some temple authorities or somebody senior may be given that task of finding faults or pointing mistakes. They can do it because they're authorized. If they are doing it because they're doing it as a seva, so a temple president or a vice president or officiating authority points out some mistakes in you, we should accept it gracefully, and then if it is for our well-being, we should take it and then try to improvise upon and then rectify our mistakes. So here, as one of the demigods, the earthly planet was taking her share in the yajnas, eating green grass, but was not producing sufficient food grains, that she is not fulfilling her milk bag. Prithu Maharaj therefore justified in threatening to punish her for her offense. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, but we'll understand what is the real truth a little later. You have lost your intelligence. Despite my orders, you did not deliver the seeds of herbs and grains formerly created by Brahma and now hidden within yourself. So again, one more heap of chastisement to the Mother Earth. And Prabhupada says that when sufficient water from the clouds, the seeds fructify and produce fruits, grains, vegetables, etc. By his example, Prithu Maharaj indicates that whenever there is scarcity in food production, the head of the government should take steps to see why production is being held up and what should be done to rectify the situation. So like this, now today, if a kshatriya or a king or somebody is there ruling the country, taking care of the prajas, how much responsible he should be, how much he should be taking the responsibility is something very enormous. If if the politician is just doing it just to have power and to get some name, fame, and if he's just holding the power and then he's ruling the country, he will be actually doing so. He will be taking so much of papa karmas of the entire citizens. So a person at that level as Kshatriya, and if somebody who's as an emperor, we should be so careful. The head of the government or the king should be so careful to ensure that there is no scarcity, or there is no injustice to the people. If a little bit of injustice is there, it is also said in Manu Samhita that 1/6 of the share of the papas of all the population the king has to take. So 1/6 of the papa karmas. So that much heavy it is. And if the politicians are not taking good control of the situation, not taking care of the citizens, they will actually end up in a very, very abominable position, and then they may not even get a human life. They may end up with so much of bad karmas. And what to speak of doing corruption and doing so much of loot of the resources. If they're doing that, then definitely they're going to greater hellish planets, and they will suffer like anything. Yeah. So the shloka 25 to be covered now. So I think I'll allow devotee. They have not done the shloka, they can cover it now.
Hare Krishna, Krishnamurti Prabhu, you read the shloka. Vasudha Mataji, the synonym, Shilpa Mataji, the translation, and I read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Amusham kshutparitanam artanam paridevitam shamayishyami madbanehi vinnayastava medasa. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad.
Synonyms.
Amosam, of all of them. Ksut paritanam, suffering from hunger. Artanam, of the distressed.
Paridevitam, the lamentation. Samayisyami, I shall pacify. Matbhanaihi, by my arrows. Binnaya, being cut to pieces. Tava, of you. Medasa, by the flesh. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now with the help of my arrows, I shall cut you to pieces and with your flesh satisfy the hunger-stricken citizens who are now crying for want of grains. Thus, I shall satisfy the crying citizens of my kingdom. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hello.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
No problem, yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here we find some indication of how the government can arrange for the eating of cow flesh. It is here indicated that in rare circumstance, when there is no supply of grains, the government may sanction the eating of meat. However, when there is sufficient food, the government should not allow the eating of cow's flesh just to satisfy the fastidious tongue. In other words, in rare circumstances, when people are suffering for want of grains, meat eating or flesh eating can be allowed, but not otherwise. The maintenance of slaughterhouses for the satisfaction of the tongue and the killing of animals unnecessarily should never be sanctioned by a government. As described in a previous verse, cows and other animals should be given sufficient grass to eat. If despite a sufficient supply of grass, a cow does not supply milk, and if there is an acute shortage of food, the dried up cow may be utilized to feed the hungry masses of people. According to the law of necessity, first of all, human society must try to produce food, grains, and vegetables. But if they fail in this, they can indulge in flesh eating. Otherwise not. As human society is presently structured, there is sufficient production of grains all over the world. Therefore, the opening of slaughterhouses cannot be supported. In some nations, there is so much surplus grain that sometimes extra grain is thrown into the sea, and sometimes the government forbids further production of grain. The conclusion is that the earth produces sufficient grain to feed the entire population, but the distribution of this grain is restricted due to trade regulations and a desire for profit. Consequently, in some places, there is scarcity of grain and in other profuse production. If there was one government on the surface of the earth to handle the distribution of grain, there would be no question of scarcity, no necessity to open slaughterhouses, and no need to present false theories about overpopulation. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here, Prithu Maharaj is further telling that now with the help of my arrows, I shall cut you to pieces and I'll eat the flesh. With your flesh will, he will say, not I will eat I shall cut you to pieces and with your flesh satisfy the hunger-stricken citizens for now crying for want of grains. Thus, I shall satisfy the crying citizens of my kingdom. So like this, he's telling that, the flesh your flesh will be offered to the citizens who are hungry and who are actually in need. And now Prabhupada is telling that how we find that, people are now, there's so much of slaughterhouses, there's so much of cow killing which is happening because of the faulty government policies, and because lack of the knowledge or the spiritual knowledge, they are committing so much of offenses. And whenever there is, suppose there is no food grain or anything, even in the earlier days, they were allowed, sanction of meat was allowed. But if the situation was so bad, if it was so pathetic, like for example, if you go to the desert conditions in the Middle East areas, Middle East Gulf countries, actually they're all, it's only the sea bound is there. Hardly there are any animals because the temperature is so soaring, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees temperature, where the plantation cannot grow. And in the desert condition, what is available is very few animals, also very few. Only the sea water, the sea animals are there. So that is how the people there who are living there are prone to eating seafood. And the people say, for example, living in the Arctic area, the Antarctica or Arctic area, or in the South Pole, North Poles, where very few animals are there and there is no vegetation available. So they have to depend on the seafood or what is available. So like that. But depending upon the situation, they are making their food cycle. But does not mean that they will not attract karma. They will definitely attract karma if they're killing animals, if they're doing that. And as a gradual process, of raising the ladder of in this spiritual growth, slowly they will come to a situation where they will avoid. But as Prabhupada says, persons who are fond of eating meat and all that, they'll be again born as in the sea world, they'll in the form of fishes, whales, and all that. So again, they'll get the karma. So like this, it goes on. And a person who is fond of eating flesh will probably will take birth in such places where only meat is available, and like this it goes on, and they will not be able to come out of the cycle of birth and death. And at one point of time, the karma will take them to the lower hellish planets, where it will get eaten, where that entity will get eaten by other animals, and what the animal suffered, the pain, the same pain, or hundreds and thousands of times the pain, this entity has to suffer in this in the hellish planet. So like that, law of karma will not leave anyone. The moment they make a mistake, and if they're taking the life of another living entity, they have to suffer for it. So Prabhupada, as he says, that government should take the responsibility of maintaining of maintaining good produce, good agricultural food grains production, and all these things, and the slaughterhouses should be completely banned. They should not be. I mean, let them if they want, they can eat the flesh of other animals, like say a goat or a sheep, which is available. I mean, if nobody can control, Prabhupada says that, but they should not kill the cow, because cow is actually the milk giving mother. And how can you kill your own mother? That's a argument that we have. And cow is such a holy animal. All the demigods are living there. And as we discussed earlier, the cows, the excreta of a cow is considered so sacred, because it has got so much of value in our Sanatana life, in our Sanatana dharma. So how can you do that? So this is the argument. And this the milk which is given by the cow is considered one of the most nutritious and most potent. And this cow milk is the one actually will develop the fine tissues in the brain. Otherwise, if you drink any other milk, a buffalo or some other milk, if you are eating, or a cow which is not of Indian desi cow, some other Jersey cow or something, it is not going to help you. It may add fat to your body, but it will not help develop the finer tissues in your brain. And the more the finer tissues you have, the more sattvic the person will become, the more knowledge he can gain, and he can become so intelligent that he can probably remember the verses of, say, Bhagavatam, everything put together, the entire Vedas, he can store it in his brain. I mean, that was there even 500 years back also. There are so many devotees who are so intelligent, and their memory was so strong that they could retain the shlokas in their memory, and they could recite it whenever it is required. But unfortunately, now since the act of Kali is going on, and all the sattvic elements are actually depleting, and we are not getting good milk, the pure milk, sattvic milk. We are not getting good food grains, the sattvic grains. Everything is adulterated, everything is contaminated. So that's why Prabhupada, when he was there about 15 years back also, when he was telling, I have established most of the varnas, like Brahmacharya ashram is established, Grihastha ashrama is established, where we have brahmacharis living and doing spiritual activities, preaching, and Grihasthas are there taking care of the sannyasis and the brahmacharis. But there is one ashram, which is the Vanaprastha, or the Das ashram had to be taken care. He always had that in mind, that we should develop good farm communities, and we should be self-sufficient. And we could see that in the COVID times, how difficult it was to get the food grains, and so much suffering we had to see. People who are not getting food grains, vegetables and fruits. Even now today, most of the fruits, vegetables are all contaminated. They are either with pesticides, they are dripped before production, and after that it will be insecticides. It will be so much of chemicals, fertilizers. Everything is and then today, to ripen the fruits, people are using so many chemicals. We see that what is happening. So that way we are actually suffering a lot because of these things. Our health conditions are going depleted, or we are suffering because of this chemical warfare which is going on. Whereas if you have our own plantations, our own farm community, where you can have an organic way of growing the food grains, the self-sufficiency is there. It will be a very good example. So That is one thing which Prabhupada always wanted, that we should have all over the world farm communities where self-sufficiency is there, and we don't have to depend on the external materialistic world. Then we can actually do wonderful spiritual practice, and we can also be successful in our sadhana, because what we eat is what we act. So it is very important that we get the right food grains and right proper inputs. Then only our outputs will also be good. Hare Krishna. So this I'll end today's session. If anyone has any clarifications, any doubts, they can take it up, or any realizations. Hare
Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Nice
Hare
class.
Bol.
Very good. Anybody has any questions? Please raise your hands, or you can open the mic and ask. There are no raised hands, Prabhu. I think we can end the class. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Madhu.
Yeah, there are no hands raised, Prabhu. Can we end the class?
Oh, okay, yeah, fine.
Okay, Vancha
Yeah, Vancha Kalpatarushya
Pattanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Koti Vaishnava Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam
Hare
ki Jai.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
Thank
Pranam.
you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Should I end the class, Prabhu?
Yes, Madhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.